And I think
just a second.
we're not quite live yet.
Should I be nervous? I'm nervous.
All right, I think we're live everywhere.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
I got to
Hi,
mute
Bruce.
something. Hello. Do I have to mute something so I don't get a double thing going?
If you watch your own, if you watch your own show, you get a
Bruce, we're live.
feedback. Yes, we are live. Hello,
What do I do
everyone.
with my hand?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, hello. Welcome to the Allie's Bees premiere night. We had a show at 5 o'clock, but now we're going to be interrupting, I think, throughout. We're not quite live yet. Not quite live. Okay, well, that was a good rehearsal anyway.
Should I be nervous? I'm nervous.
Yeah, if somebody was
we're
watching,
live
you'll have to mute it. I can hear it playing from somewhere.
It's probably me.
Hello. Do I have to mute something so I don't
Okay, there we go. I got rid of that.
get a double thing going?
It's still going.
If you watch your own show, you
You
get
have to close it, Bruce.
Yes, we are live. Hello, everyone. What do I do with my hand?
Oh, no.
Hello. Okay, hello. Welcome to the Allie's Bees premiere night. We had a show at 5 o'clock, but now we're going to be interrupting. I think just about. Quite live yet. Not quite live. Okay, well, that was a good rehearsal anyway.
Somewhere that's still on. I don't believe it's here.
Yeah, if somebody was live everywhere to mute it. I can hear it playing from somewhere. It's probably me. Hello. Do I have to mute something so I don't? Okay, there we go. I got rid of that. Get a double thing going.
Does anybody have that on still?
Watch your own show.
I think I turned mine off.
It's on
Somebody-
somewhere. Is somebody watching the show?
Hello, everyone turn down their speakers. Hello.
Boy.
To the Allie's Bees premiere night.
No,
It's
gosh.
on somebody's computer.
But now we're going to be interrupting.
Okay.
Not quite live. Okay, well, that was a good.
Yeah, whoever's got that on's got to turn that off.
You have your speakers on, guys. Will you please turn your speakers on?
I'm using headphones.
If you're watching the show at all, that's not good.
I'm not watching the show. I'm just looking at our Zoom thing. I mean, I have Facebook up, but it's
Jordan, will you
Nothing.
mute the control room, please, sir?
I'm actually on this, so
You're on
That's-
Jordan's iPhone, but if you mute the control room, it might do away with our echo. No?
I don't believe so. It looks like it's gone now.
yeah, it's done. Okay.
Okay. All right. So in that case, let's go ahead and start the show.
Okay. All right. Allie's
All right.
Bees again, this time with a bunch of interruptions by cast and crew.
That's us.
All right.
And I'm Bruce. I wrote Allie's Bees, producer, and everybody say who they are.
Hi, I'm Stagger Lee. I play Ali in the show.
And I'm his grandfather, Jaddi.
I am Rick
Go
Walton.
ahead.
I'm playing Jinx's dad, and the grumpy old vet.
Hello, I'm Isaac Snyder. I'm playing Jenks.
And this is Jamie.
Okay, sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you. And I'm Jamie. I play Lupe, just Staggerly's friend. You know, I'm just friends with everybody.
Just friend.
And I'm Sasha. I'm playing Ali's mom.
All right.
And
At least
Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah, I'm Jordan Martin. I was the director. I also do the control room. And also
The button
Roland.
pushing.
Introduce yourself, Roland.
Oh
Hey
yeah.
guys, how are you? I'm Roland Bashura. I'm the musical director.
Hi,
All right.
everybody.
I think that's all of us.
Okay. So let's start the show. I'll start it up here at the beginning. You guys can go ahead and start talking too if you want over it.
killer opening, man. What was cool for us is we didn't get to see any of this until we saw it the first time. So it was kind of like being an audience member in our own show. That was awesome.
Now, really? Now, Yusuf and Roland, explain to our audience what that was, that call to prayer, right? What are they saying?
Oh yeah, the morning azan is what they call it. Is that right, Yusuf?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's they do it 5 times a day in the Middle East, especially in more Muslim-controlled countries. And it's basically a call to prayer. It's beautiful. Anybody can sing it. Anybody can chant it. Of every religion, it's welcome. And you know, one thing that unfortunately the media kind of takes out of context sometimes, which I feel as a Catholic, as a Christian, you know, Middle Eastern man. I think Allah Akbar is a beautiful word. It just means God is great, you know, and why not? Anybody could say it. And sometimes you hear it in a different context, like, you know, before, you know, something bad happens, you know.
Notice little things.
Yeah. It's a beautiful azan. It's a beautiful morning prayer.
I think grandfather has something to say about that later in the show, about how people who want to do violence take it, you know, don't, you know, they say they're doing something for God, but they're not.
I noticed bees.
Correct.
So then
Bees are unique among God's creatures. They improve our world, give us food, and do not prey on any other
I wrote them. It was first a play, and then it became, I converted it into a novel for middle grade readers. And so, the whole thing started because I saw bees dying all over the place, and I did some research, and then I found out what was going on. And then I was coaching a young Middle Eastern boy who had just come to America, so he was kind of like Ali.
They are not happy.
And he was struggling to learn how to play baseball, so then I just imagined this whole story around him and the bees.
Are mentioned in the Quran.
And I've never met any of either of my grandfathers, so Yusuf gets to be everybody's grandfather.
But then the nectar of the bees saved your grandmother, my child, when she was sick. After that, I became a beekeeper, so I could honor and care. What is it, Ali?
Yeah, so it's so the whole I wrote the play in a
As do I.
In a class, a playwriting class at Cal State LA, with my instructor friend Jose Cruz Gonzalez, who's actually a children's playwright. He's retired now, living up, I think, in Northern California. But he's just a wonderful playwright, wonderful human being.
But do not go to
he played in a mariachi band too, which is really cool. He played the guitar.
But look, there's Tommy, Bruce. We didn't have Tommy here today. I just wanted to point out.
Strangers in the market today.
Now.
Listen to your
you can see Tommy and the illustrious Sasha playing the parents there.
Oh yeah.
They wait for us.
Yeah. Sasha, tell us something about you and Tommy being the parents of it.
Oh, gentle Ali. They will not sting.
You know, I'm a parent. Tommy's a parent, so it was very easy. They will not sting you if you do not.
What do you say? Freak out.
I know what it's like to be lost in a different
country. You must make friends with the bees. If you feel comfortable, they feel comfortable, and they do not sting you.
Right?
Yeah.
And
I thought you were from Alabama.
Well,
tell me about our home.
That's right. That's what I call immigration. Migration from
our honey in Bacoa was the best. We planted orange trees among the date palms.
And Tommy and I, we had a couple of we met several times online because everybody's in different cities for everyone's information. Almost everyone. Some of us in the same city. But so to connect, to talk about kids,
the sweet fragrance of the trees was like
perfume,
so dancing in the air.
To understand that, that feeling of
I can see
parents
it and smell it, Jadi.
Wonderful son. And in the play, because we are not, and it's not a spoiler because that's a given, from the very beginning, we're
Saddam
not
was
here
a bad
anymore.
man, very bad.
The
But when he
parents
was in power,
perished,
I could travel the
but
roads
they
at
come
night.
in flashbacks.
I could
but
move my
we're
bees
looking,
around to
of
help
course,
pollinate the
from
orchard.
the sky. We're looking
Then
at our
the
sun
invasion.
from somewhere.
Saddam was
and
gone,
we
but it
are,
was not safe to travel
trying
with so many
to
insurgents.
also to get this new
The
light through
checkpoint
him.
slowed me down.
So
The bees
whatever
died.
happens to
Many
him is
beekeepers were
happening to
gone,
us, and
and
we
with
are
them, the
trying to
bees.
appear even in his
Thank you,
flashbacks
grandfather.
for a
This will help me
reason,
with my
to
project.
tell him something.
What
to direct
project?
Him somehow, to
A
support
science
him
project
somehow.
in school.
And it's very, and every
Oh,
time when I
you
see
will
these
do well.
scenes
You have
of
always been a
flashbacks of
clever
him
boy.
thinking about his parents feeling lonely and experience this PTSD, I start crying.
I do not like sirens.
I can't imagine my own son.
I remember when I was little, I thought we all lived in the stomach of a giant.
Everybody who
Yes.
watched today,
And I thought there
already
had to
at
be
5
people living
p.m.,
inside of me
and
too.
everybody who watched earlier,
And the giant was
everybody
inside
said
the
that
stomach
this
of a
is a
bigger
story,
giant and so on.
It touches you in so many levels.
Imagination.
It covers so
Infinitely
many
small and
main
infinitely
issues that are
large.
very, very
I
contemporary.
would
very,
lie on the
very
ground by the
actual
orange
to take
trees
place.
and look up at the
That's
clouds
sad.
and
I
wonder
will
if
pass
someone
the
inside
mic.
of me was doing the same thing.
I just saw Stagger Lee
It
and
is
Yusuf hug
important to
on
sense
screen,
the wonder of
which was
creation.
a feat of daring do, really. Like, how the
I
heck
do
did
not
they
look
do
at
that?
the
They weren't even
clouds
in the same
anymore,
room.
Jadi.
That's pretty cool.
They just pass over my head
That's
silently.
the power of love. What is
Ah,
troubling you,
oh,
Ali?
look. I noticed that Bruce, both Stagger Lee's character,
Sometimes I have these
Ali,
thoughts.
and
I see
Yusuf's
things,
character, grandfather,
hear
are both very
things.
kind
I
people.
freeze
And,
up.
like, you're used to everyone
Other
having kind
kids
of flaws and
notice.
stuff, but you don't necessarily have to have a flaw for the story to be, or the character to be compelling.
Yeah.
It's also very relatable. Like Stagger Lee, you play such a nice
Too expensive.
guy, you know, you get bumped around like a bowling
You
ball
make
and
good
or a
money now.
ping pong ball.
And that is
Story.
what you said
He-
about the
yeah,
last
and then,
one.
well, as the story develops, you
This
learn
is
he does
true.
have a lot of anger inside of him that
I
he's able to
save the
control,
money
but
because I make
it's
my
coming
own
out
clothes.
in
It is
his
permitted to buy better
his nightmares and
You see, Ali,
he
you're
zones
not
out,
arguing
like he says,
because your mother always
and
wins.
So it is
No
disruptive
argument.
to his life, but he's working through it, and I think
You have
Stagger Lee and
experienced war.
Yusuf do they
It is
really
normal.
bond very nicely. I like how, and Stagger Lee has
Yeah.
to work on an accent too, which is not easy.
Yes,
to
but
do.
now this is our home. America.
I love his Ali. I love how the character
And
came
you
to
have
life.
your
It was
bees,
great. I
Jadi.
really loved it. It
Yes,
was awesome.
I have my bees,
Such a kind
and we
person.
have each other.
Now Yusuf
We
didn't
are
have to work
lucky.
on his accent.
Alhamdulillah. I had to pay somebody to make me take my accent back.
What do you do for a living, Yusuf? Are you didn't you used to work as an interpreter? So is like English kind of part of your job?
I did that when we went to Kuwait with the U.S. Army. I did that for 3 months, but then I didn't have green card, so they didn't pay me. I just did
Last
it as
year-
a favor.
I began to
Wow.
notice honeybees who were dead or
Wow.
dying. Wherever I
Now
went,
Well, that
I
was
saw
nice
them.
of you.
American forces.
Their little
met.
bodies struggling on the
Oh,
ground.
interesting.
I felt sorry
That kind of
for
says a
them.
lot about your character.
They're hard workers, like my parents
Yeah.
Very
were.
similar to Grandpa.
And my grandfather. He was a
Yeah.
beekeeper
Okay,
in
A
Iraq.
lot of parallels
We
between
lived in
those
Bakuba,
characters.
north of
And I
Baghdad.
should say that
surrounded by orange
that
trees.
Rick and I are
to
both
find out what is killing the
veterans,
honeybees.
so that's kind of cool.
My science
And we've
project
been
will look at the
together along
importance
with
of
Jordan,
honeybees and how we can
since
save
the
them.
beginning of this lockdown theater, at the beginning of the pandemic, right at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah, right at the beginning. That's when it all
Yeah.
started. Yeah. There's another hug. Jamie, that was an awkward middle school hug.
Oh, can
Yeah.
together on
Appropriate, I
the
think.
project for
Did
the
not
science
violate
fair
rule number
for you.
27.
That is middle school for you. When you hug someone with confidence, you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I don't know if this
He
will
believes
spoil the
very
magic,
much in
but you guys play middle schoolers. How old are you guys? in
Old
real life?
man superstition.
I'm
That thinks
90s.
honey is medicine.
Wow.
It is me.
That's
Mary
great.
Kay works wonders. No.
Let's not pigeonhole. We don't want to get them typecast.
That's true.
Ali?
That's
Yeah.
true.
You're right. We got to
Oh,
think about
sure, that would be very
yeah,
good.
but they do.
You
You bring
okay?
something up. They do play young, very,
Yes.
very, very well.
Sometimes
I think, so.
I'm thinking
Whatever
how
their real
they
age
might
is,
have-
they're very believable.
If you ask
so.
me, it's
In fact,
They leave them on
remember
screen.
that for the rest
Matt.
of my life.
And by the way,
right now,
it's an
if
important
you look at the
project,
screen,
Senior
you can see
Grumpy.
the three of them. And one thing that
Maybe
impressed
you
me,
would
okay, so I've
want to
been
work
acting
together
for a while,
with
and
us.
Bruce said I've been with the company
Yeah,
for a
work
while.
with us.
We've done a couple of these shows.
I'm not
It's
working with the
difficult
terrorists.
for a lot of different reasons as an actor, but like on the screen right now, there they are. You see all three of them in the same room together. You'll see their eye
Why
lines, you see them
does he
acting
say
and reacting
that?
with one another. The three of
Hungry
them, you
since
guys
his
had a
dad came
great
back from the
chemistry
war.
in the show today, and I
Alright.
Yeah.
totally applaud you for that because it's difficult
Water
coming from an
took away
experienced
many
person.
things.
It's hard,
Ollie,
and you did
tell
it.
me more
Like,
about
the three of you do
honeybees.
feel like three people in school together, like you
Well,
actually know each other.
honeybees
Have
are
any of you actually
responsible
met
for
each
much
other
of our
professionally,
food.
personally?
Nope. You mean like
Cool.
I
Liz
guess
Ham
not.
sandwich?
No.
No.
Wow.
No.
Great job.
We have to
But
credit it to
bees
Bruce's
help
writing.
make
though.
this
Like,
apple.
this was like a
We're gonna
relatable
win first place
conversation
in the
that people would
science
have
fair.
together. It's not like out of
Let's
right field,
send
left
science
field.
fair.
Like, no, it sounds like
I
something
hope
that
so.
Right.
I'm an
people
artist,
talk
you know.
about.
Bruce,
Oh,
Bruce,
good.
you said you
I can
listened
draw, and I've got
to
really neat
somebody else
handwriting.
talk to get this inspiration.
We will make a good team.
Credit that to your experience
You
as
know,
a teacher.
Jinx is really smart and can build
Yeah,
almost
you
anything.
know, being a teacher,
I think he
the
hates
one thing I learned is that you have to
He's not a bad
to
guy.
listen, not just talk. And
Okay.
I learned from my students
Once you get to know
that's
him.
how you
can
become
talk
an
to him.
effective teacher. In fact, the best way to
Do you
learn
know
is to become a
honeybees
teacher. and really
communicate
take
by
it
smell and
seriously,
by dances?
because then you find out
Yes.
what you need
They get
to
right
find
up
out
next to
more
each
about,
other
because
and
you get a
buzz
lot of
and
questions.
dance and wiggle
When
their
you first start
buttons.
teaching, it's pretty
Like
terrifying
this.
because you get a lot of questions you don't know the answers
Yes,
to.
that is it.
So
Yeah.
you try to
Very
dodge them and it doesn't work, and then you get embarrassed. And eventually, you just
Very
if they ask you enough questions, then you end up learning a lot.
That was a sweet dance party, you guys.
Hey, Roland, tell us something about the music you came up with. The beginning, and then all the parts in the middle and stuff. What was your
Sure.
your muse there?
Honestly, the inspiration came from a little bit of everything that I listened to. Being a musician, being a multifaceted musician, actually, I should say that most people like to stick to one style. Unfortunately, I love to
I'll
kind
hit
of
a homer for you today, Dad.
listen to everything from the Gypsy Kings to Johnny Cash
Gotta be
to
on the map,
Elvis
guys.
to Taylor Swift, everything. I leave nothing
Dickie went
off
camping
the
with his
table.
dad.
Everybody's
They
included.
caught 8 like
And so that includes
really
world
big
music. And when I
trout.
listen to world music and I see foreign drama shows, or if I see American drama shows, I kind of like take little bits and pieces of everything from everywhere and build
maybe you
a
should
sort of
call Mom,
dynamic to the characters in
maybe
this movie,
she'll
in this play.
want to come over for dinner sometime.
So yeah,
Check
I
out.
never heard music being played over like the Muslim chant, the Muslim prayer, and that's been kind of my dream.
Dad, wanna play
Secretly
catch?
speaking, I've always wanted to do that, but I always thought it was maybe like Hollywood would get mad at me, or I don't know, somebody would kind of like write me and say, hey, you can't do that or something. I don't know.
Well, they
but
teach you.
I did it anyways, and it sounds
Pay
phenomenal.
attention.
I love it, actually. It's
what
kind of
works,
like, nobody's
all
going to
the
make your dreams
time.
come true unless you
McGraw
do
didn't
it
listen.
yourself, right?
Got it
Kind
right
of like
between
what
the
we're all
eyes.
doing today. And I was very happy with it. And when I heard when
Don't dare
Dr.
cry.
B told me he loved it and he
Don't
liked it, and
dare.
Jordan was like, "Oh my God, that's incredible!" And everybody was just kind of complimenting it and being real with it. I was like, "Okay, cool. Let's keep going. Let's go forward.
Aren't you
Let's
staying for the game?
So I kind of.
Thank you, Roland. I
Send
really
over to
enjoyed
Cozy. I'll be
working
there
with you on this. And of course, we've been in a band together for a number of years, on and off.
Yeah,
it's like we take a hiatus for like 5 years in our band, and we come back together. So it's always a reunion tour. It's always a reunion tour. Every time.
We could make a lockdown band. Let's do the lockdown band someday.
Oh my
when
God!
we can all
Could you
get
imagine?
together.
We have musicians
Play
here.
the
You know,
baseball.
I know Jamie's a very
Not
very good
the
musician too. So,
baseball.
we've got
Just
a lot
say
of musicians
baseball.
here.
Let's go. Let's all meet in LA. I don't mind.
And of course,
Yeah.
Go. I'm ready. Say less. I'm ready. Let's go.
Hey,
Got my
hey,
jaw harp ready. I have to try.
There you go.
Yeah,
Look
this
here, why
is
don't you just come
something,
back
this
where
is
you
something
were?
maybe you guys didn't know about that. Bruce was actually
Why not?
One of our lead guitarists and
these are
singers
home.
in our band at Citrus
That
College.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. He's pretty good
Your
too.
grandfather Taliban too.
That's why we went so far.
He's a good man.
Oh my God.
Taliban are from Afghanistan.
I wouldn't say lead
We are from
guitarist, and
Iraq.
I wouldn't say lead singer either. I do
What's
sing,
the difference?
but,
You're all
Uh,
terrorists, right?
just in case there's people watching that are interested in the show, Jordan, can you
Yeah,
tell
let's
them
put that
like
in.
educators and school district folks and others, library folks, maybe they want to have a live performance. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Military, we cannot afford to be tender.
I'm going to link the show first
You will
first
not
thing
be in the military.
that played today,
Ali
so
will
that
do
anybody
great
watching can watch
things.
that.
Oh, cool.
And anything, I was kind of thinking when you were talking to everybody, really anything could be done this way. You could even imagine having the kids do it, where the school supplies the kids with the green screens, and they still get to have
Why do you say
their, annual theater
You
play.
stare and say nothing.
And that it
Sometimes
might be
I
a
have to
handful,
think.
but I think it'd be fun. The actors can hear me while
somewhere
the show
else.
is going.
It's creepy,
but the audience can't. So I
My
can
grandfather says
kinda
he sees
control
your
things
father
that
at the
way.
Cozy Inn.
And what you're actually seeing on the
How does he
screen,
know?
the square
Grandfather
that's cut
watches
out.
the games there.
Let me make it bigger for the audience real quick.
So what?
The square that's cut out.
cares?
And the person inside
He
there
says your father is an
are just
angry
kind of
man.
overlaid. So anything
Mind your
can
own
be put back
business.
there behind the green screen. You could imagine,
Guess you don't know how to duck either.
person flying in the air pretty easily.
Why
done.
did you do that?
You don't need a crane
Oh,
anymore for that type
You're
of
gonna
thing.
get it now.
Like there where he threw the ball. We actually recorded that.
What are you guys
Pre-record.
doing?
And you guys
Hi.
are awesome at that, by the way. That was really fun, actually. I don't think I had
What happened?
anywhere near that much fun until, when we were
forgot
doing
to
it before,
duck.
I was learning it, but that
No,
was
what
great.
happened with James?
Everybody did it in like it was like
I asked
an
about his
hour apiece,
father.
and it was done pretty much.
Oh.
And
Why is his
the ball,
father in the
I don't even think I
wheelchair?
told any of you guys this. This
He
was
fought in
something great.
Iraq.
When the ball, Isaac, you would throw the ball
He
up
was
in the
wounded?
air. I wound up taking the ball.
I've never
moving
seen
through
his
the air in
mother
front
at
of
the
green
games.
screen and using
She
it
left.
for every
Like my
throw.
mama says, living
Because
separate.
all I really needed was for your hand to
Why
get
does
to
his
that
father
point,
carry a
and then the
bag?
ball would appear behind
It's a
your
military
hand
medical bag.
and
He worked
move.
as a medic in the army.
And then when it would get down about
My
this
father
far,
was a
I would cut
policeman.
and put another
Really?
one,
Cool.
and it would just keep going
My
forever.
mother was a seamstress.
And that was the only way that worked.
Made all of our
I
clothes.
tried everything else. I tried an animated
Your
ball
parents.
and tweening it,
Where are
but
you?
that wound up doing it, and I didn't have to do any more recordings or anything. But I mean, really, anything
You hear that?
that you can imagine is possible.
Rockets.
I
Oh, this
can't
is
say how
not that far
until I
away.
do it in a way. But
This
it's
is the
all
beautiful
possible.
scene right here that the background
not want us
behind
to
the
run.
mother and father. I think it's
It's maybe
beautiful.
safer to stay here.
This is where they're very worried, right? Isn't this it?
Yeah, it's
Just before
we had
they.
the sky. The
Yeah.
sky was emotive.
Jenks is coming back
so
for
it
some
kind
big
of tell you their
kids.
emotions. It'd
It's
be
okay. Let me
happy
talk to
and
him.
then more
Oh, I have to go.
darker sky
Goodbye.
as their mood changed.
I love it. So anybody listening who's involved with schools and you'd like us to perform live, we will set up in the future sometime that's mutually agreeable to different schools, and we have schools that are interested in Seattle and Portland and here in Los Angeles and around the country that are interested. We'll set up a date where we can perform it live for your students, and that's really, and whether you're in class. A lot of people returning to class on a limited basis maybe, and some people still doing online or some combination. You still wouldn't be able to have live actors come to your school because of restrictions. So what we can do is we'll bring the live actors to your classroom or to the student's home through whatever
No,
learning management
if the
system
bee is sick,
you're using,
he does
and
not
provide
return
live
to the
theater
hive.
for you. So just
What,
contact
Grandfather?
me or Jordan. And
Flies
Jordan, we have our
off and
contact
dies
somewhere
alone.
there, don't
I'm
we?
going to
No,
link
she
a bunch of
does
stuff
not
here real
infect
quick.
the rest of the
Now that
colony.
Yeah,
I'm
so
done
we're
talking, let me get that.
willing to do that. I mean, we can't do 1,000 performances,
Sometimes the
obviously,
one
for every
must
single school. We'll do
sacrifice
one
for the
performance or maybe a couple
I
to get the
learned
actors,
that bees work
together,
hard to help
and
each
then
other.
link it, and then have
They
all
only
the
live for
students,
30
the
days
schools
because
link at
they
the
work
same time
themselves to death.
to that performance. So
Yes.
at a mutually
No
agreeable
such
time.
thing as a
So
lazy
that's
bee.
the whole idea. And anyway, I
Yes,
just wanted to
Jackie.
talk to the educators and
You said
folks out there,
bees are mentioned in the
parents,
Quran?
educators, whatever, that would like their children to see this
Yes. It is
performed
said,
live, which
and
is, there's
of the
nothing better
fruits
than
of
live
the
theater.
palms
And
and
that's
the
why we
grapes,
did this
you
lockdown theater,
obtain
because of
from
the
them
lockdown, because of the
goodly
pandemic.
provision.
That's why
And
we're
the
all
Lord
here, even though
revealed
we're
to the
slowly
bee
working our way
it
out of it.
hides in
Although
the mountains
I think we
and in
should
the
do so
trees
cautiously,
and
be
in what
careful.
they bid.
But meanwhile, we can do this theater thing and keep it going. So
Then eat
anyway,
of
I'll
all the
be quiet for
fruits
a while,
and
'cause you
walk
guys
in the ways of
are
the
more
Lord
interested.
submissively.
put our email in there.
There comes forth from the
Yeah, you have a great voice.
a beverage
Very
of many hues.
Yes,
I was watching while you were talking, and we saw some illustrations there.
Allah,
What are
the
those
knowing,
from your book? Right?
powerful,
Yeah,
the merciful,
yeah. Gabby
the beneficent.
Untermayerova. She is not, I've been trying to get a hold of her, but anyway, she did the illustrations for the book, Ali's Bees, which is available on Amazon.
The Quran is not the only
and it's
holy
perfect
book
for
to
kids and
mention
adults. Everybody enjoys it. But anyway, she did all the illustrations, did the cover, and Jordan cleverly worked the illustrations into the kind of scene dividers and different places in the place, in the stream place. So you'll see those wonderful black and white drawings.
Even when I am not asleep.
There it is.
Thank you, Steve.
Terrible
Yeah.
storms.
So could you
the clouds
potentially
turn
use this
black.
as a reading assignment? What reading level would you think this is?
I would say from the 5th grade through adult.
That I cannot look away even
Right.
though I want
It, can be
it might be a little challenging for 4th graders, but 5th graders and above, I think, would be
up with my heart
perfect for middle
so
school. That's
fast.
really what I was hitting. But
I have
high schoolers
noticed
will
you
like
do
it
not
too.
sleep well.
What's the runtime,
I'm
Jordan,
afraid to
of the video piece?
I remember
90
being
minutes?
all alone in the
Yeah,
camp.
90 minutes. So you
With
got
all
a
the
lot
other
of
orphans
time.
before I found you.
You got how many?
There was no
How many
safe
pages in the
place
book,
for us
Luke?
to sleep and not enough food.
Oh, somebody have it in front of them. What is it, 100 and something?
This is
I
normal.
forgot. It's an easy
You
read,
and
though.
I
It really
have
goes
seen
So
fast.
it could be a
firsthand,
companion piece, really. So they
The
could read the book
nightmares
and then
try to
maybe
steal the courage we built up during the day. So we must start all over again.
133. It's an easy read.
Freezes me.
I have my
Even
college
the
students read
bravest
Ali's
person
Bees,
is
and they
still
love it.
afraid.
And these are like,
Bravery is not the
19
absence of
to
fear.
30-year-old
It is working
people
through
and
the
more
fear,
sometimes.
day by day.
And they love the book too. So it's just
Does it get better?
it's a story that
If you
people
mean, does
need
it go
nowadays.
away?
I think one
No.
of our
But
people
you
that
can become
watched
familiar with the
earlier
source
today
of your fear
said
and
that
draw
everybody should
strength
see it. I
from
really
your
do think they
experiences.
should. And it's my vision
Yes,
in my head
grandfather.
is that
We
thousands
must
of
carry
schools
on.
and
Stay busy.
tens of thousands
Like our
of kids, maybe
honeybees.
hundreds of thousands
There
of
is
kids will get to
comfort in
see Ali's
routine,
Bees, will get to see
a
these
sense
great
of
actors and see
predictability
the
and
work
safety.
of Jordan and hear the music of Roland. And
Another boy
get in touch
threatened
with this
me.
story and have it touch their hearts and maybe
What
bring
did
a
you
little
do?
bit more love and kindness and cooperation
I
into
ran
our world.
away.
That's what I'm hoping.
I see.
Yeah.
Does that mean
And also
I'm a
have your
coward?
students review it and send us the reviews.
You
We would
are a
love that.
victim of this
Oh, they were great. We got
organized
some
thing.
reviews from
Yeah.
You are under
from this
the
performance that we
unfortunate
recorded.
impression
And
that
Jordan,
just
maybe you want to
because
share
you
some
run
of them.
away,
I
you
thought
have
some
no
of them were
courage.
great.
You
We're
are
all about
one-
refusing
freedom.
courage
Really,
with
Really quick,
wisdom.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I got one
Yes.
watcher, one live
Is that
YouTube
from the
viewer,
Quran?
and
Oh, no.
he's texting
The
me right now,
Wizard
just telling
of
me that
Oz.
it kind of
Yes,
sounds like the
American
YouTube,
wisdom from
and don't
Hollywood.
take it the wrong way. The YouTube channel is kind of sounding scattered, where he's listening to the video and he can't hear our conversation. So Jordan, I don't know if you want to just take a quick look into that really fast.
Yeah, maybe here's what we can do. Let's take.
And then tell us again about the reviews. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you guys.
No, thank you. That's a good.
Go ahead. I think what's happening is he can hear the show better than us, and
Right.
the show is breaking into our frequencies.
Oh,
So let's give that a shot and see if that works better.
You struck out with the
Okay.
bases loaded.
and if there's any questions, is somebody monitoring it? Because I can't monitor it. So.
I am. I did put out if anybody has any questions.
Come on, that
let's
kid
hear them.
threw so
So
slow, even if
Okay,
you
good.
hit it.
and I think I said
have
so on
seen the
YouTube
girls
also.
hit. They are very
Bruce,
good.
do you have any of those actually handy?
Never
Those
mind.
comments?
You've
I
got no
remember a
business
few
being
of
on
them.
our team.
I just remember. I don't have them handy, but I do remember a few of them. My favorite one
You can't
was
run. You can't
one
catch.
young
You can't
girl.
throw, and you can't hit.
I think a seventh grader. Yeah,
You
seventh
know,
grader
I
said
just
her favorite. We
dissed
asked
you.
what
Doesn't
was their
make you
favorite
mad.
part of the show, and they said when
I'm
when
a terrible
Lupe
player.
put Jenks in the
But I do
friend
my
zone.
best.
The friend zone, and I
Nobody
didn't know what that
wants
meant.
you
I had
on
to
the
ask
team.
what that meant,
Really?
but I kind of I did kind of figure it out. But anyway, I thought that was fun.
No,
That was her favorite part.
you stink at
And then
playing baseball.
and then your favorite one, Jordan. Remember? It's very simple.
My favorite
My
one
other
was
offense.
what was your favorite part of the
No,
play
you-
when it was over?
You stink.
But
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
like
that's-
3 different
that's-
kids that said that same joke actually.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. That was funny too.
Why don't you
But
play
no,
ball?
their favorite characters. They kind of vary. A lot of them like the grandfather. A lot of them like the other characters too, so they kind of scattered around.
My grandfather.
But no, they were really good reviews, and
where's your mom and dad?
I'm trying to think of other ones that kind of stuck out.
Anyway.
But yeah, I mean they all enjoyed it, and I think it's okay to challenge. You know, like if you're a 6th grader and you're watching this, yeah, it's going to challenge you a little bit, but it's good to challenge kids. You don't want to play down to them. I mean, kids don't like that. You know, it's like, oh, look at you, you know, you got to
smarter than that.
Yeah, they are. You know, you got to give them credit. They can handle stuff, and they're exposed to stuff.
Guys think you should go back
you know, things that are not pleasant, like bullying and people calling people names and stuff. So they get exposed to that. So that's not bursting their bubble of what humans are capable of, or hearing about war.
One of the parts of it that was a little uncomfortable for me, being a parent, is playing the role of Jinx's dad.
Yeah,
and they have some ill communication. Jinx's dad has been through some trauma that maybe folks in the middle school ages aren't aware of yet, or don't know how to interpret. But it's probably very familiar for most of us.
For real.
And relatable in some way. Both parents and kids alike. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of conversation that fosters for the book or the show.
Well, for one thing,
I think the earlier, like, you know, luckily Jinx and his father have that conversation and come to a meeting of minds. You know, I don't want to give too much away, but it kind of reminds me when I was growing up with my father. He could be very difficult to deal with. And I didn't really understand it, but you know, he had lived through World War II. Well, both my parents did, and he was in a labor camp, a forced labor camp, and of course that messed. And as a young man, and that, of course that's going to mess with your mind for the rest of your life. And so I was always, you know, why is he so serious? Why does he always work all the time? Why does he never just relax? Why doesn't he watch a ball game with me? He never wanted. He said that's foolish. You know, you should always be working, and you should be, you know, making money and helping the family, you know, whatever. But then it really dawned on me as I got older that, you know, the reason he was that way was because of his experiences and being an immigrant. And as he said, when he came to America, he didn't speak a word of English, and they had very little money and had to live with relatives, which was a very humbling experience.
Her boyfriend broke up with her last night.
I remember he told me when he went he was a carpenter and a fisherman, like the deadliest catch kind of fisherman up in Alaska. He would go to a job site as a carpenter with his tools. He'd take the bus, he said, with his toolkit, his toolbox, and go up and ask. He could say enough English. He learned enough to say, "Can I have a job?" And if he only understood yes or no. So if they said, "Well, maybe, but come back tomorrow," he took it as a no. He didn't. They have to say yes or no, or otherwise he wouldn't know what they meant.
Mama too. I think that's a good thing, going back to what you guys were saying about just like your upbringing and stuff. Even this show and maybe whatever kids see it, whatever middle school ages see it. I know for me, there's certain movies, certain books I read growing up where I would see a family dynamic in a way that I didn't understand growing up, but it helped me understand where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's not that, you know, like your parents don't love you, like there's that miscommunication, but there's either generational gaps, there's different backgrounds, different histories that your parents have that you don't have that explain it. And I see a lot of that in this. So I think that's really cool. And I hope a lot of the kids get that from this, where they're like, oh, wait, that maybe my dad or my mom is kind of a little like Jinx's dad.
Yeah.
You know, but they understand it's not because there's a lack of love, there's just a lack of communication. So
yeah,
I think that's cool.
They're looking for something to bridge them, bring them together, and they just are, you know, misfiring, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, Yusuf and Stagger Lee, Bruce wrote your dialogue in a way that kind of forced you to communicate your feelings.
So
the way that Grandpa kind of counseled you, Stagger Lee, he kind of forced you to confront your own feelings through conversation and communicating, which I thought was great.
I'll do my
very
own.
Mature kind of voice
Teacher
in the
wants us to work in
in
group.
the crisis.
I don't want to be in your
Right,
group.
it's true.
Got it?
And Yusuf was so good at making me feel like in the character, being his his grandson and
only grandson.
yeah, and it was very not quite relatable, but it was easy to slip into the feeling of this character, and like everyone's been saying, Bruce wrote it so well that it was easy to see and work with.
He was my dad's favorite player. He talks
Yeah,
about
you
it
know,
all
the
time.
other thought of this, as we said before, this story has so many dimensions and so many to think, so many things that make you think.
Where are you going?
But one of them is, which is not like the main theme of that probably, but that you can, well, it is a main theme actually. What am I saying? That you can work through everything. You can solve everything on every level. Lupe has her tremendous problems at home, and she pretends that it's so easy, like she's just like, oh, whatever, dismisses that because she's busy with a lot of hard work and helping her family and going through her stuff and surviving this trauma of loss of her father and her mom's, what is happening with her, and of course, and Ali and Jenks and everyone, all the adults, all the kids are going through something together and separately. Queen Bee, yeah, that's me. And so everybody's going through something, even late Ali's parents. And this story, in the end, everybody finds their solution for their problems. And that's something, again, that connects us to the environment that we have to care about. Bees teach us how to live together in peace, how to work together. And we should learn our lessons and listen to other people, to the nature, and to live in harmony and to build this harmony.
Thank you, Sasha, talking about the science, because that is an important, I mean, the inspiration for the play started with dead bees, dead and dying bees. And I wondered what was going on. And so now I really care for bees, and I like to protect them. And the weird thing about it is I'm like the character Lupe. I'm deathly allergic to bee stings.
Oh, wow.
So,
Me too.
but I love them.
Interesting.
I have like
We've
a
got some
contract
Easter
with
eggs
them.
here.
I tell them, just leave me alone and I will protect you as much as I can.
Did you say Easter eggs?
There's Easter eggs, yeah, in the background behind them. We've got, it says book report the bridge.
Ah.
Yeah.
Let me make this bigger for the audience real quick. And you can see it also says some judges, Mr. Smith, Miss Golly, Dr. Rationale, Officer Humble.
Yeah.
And then group 2 is well, it's got all the characters. I can't see it right. Oh, Penny Jane Mark, Perry, Luann. That's right. Perry, Luann. And
those are all other kids.
What was Toby's character's name? The stepfather.
And this is my gun?
Yeah.
Yes.
Gosh, what was his name?
It was. That's the last one there on the Easter eggs behind them. Thad.
Thad. Yeah, that's right. Thad.
Yeah, and then on the right side there will be characters from Tough Trip Through Hell.
That one's a little more visible in scene 8. It's really hard to see now. I actually liked it that way though, where they would see it was there, have a real hard time seeing it, and then see it later on. And Staggerly did a good job by accident of moving out of the way and letting you see it. So it worked really good. Or did you do that on purpose?
No, I wasn't watching my screen while it was happening.
Yeah.
There was something that we missed while we were talking here, that Ali's character gave a baseball card to Jenks. And so it's not unclear at this point in the show that the two of them, there it is, Jordan's holding it up, that the two of them are not getting along very well. And it's a strange kind of relationship, because Staggerly's Ali is kind of like this puppy dog who keeps getting whacked by somebody and keeps coming back for love, And Jenks wants to relate to him, but he just doesn't know how to. And so he just doesn't even know what to say when he gets this baseball card from Ali. And I think it's funny because that what do they call it in writing, Bruce, when there's a prop or an item that becomes not a major part of the story, but also works as a plot device to advance the story? Is that a
MacGuffin?
A MacGuffin. There it is.
Wow.
Like the Maltese Falcon.
Right. So this baseball card becomes a MacGuffin that brings all of these people together.
Yeah.
I guess I spoiled it. We should let the show get there first.
No, that's okay.
But I wanted to talk about it because how many of us have one? Who else has one?
It's four. Four people have it.
Four of them. Yeah. So Stagger Lee, myself, and Isaac's got one. And then all of us have to hand it back and forth in the frame to one another. So acting wise, it gives you a bit of business, but also some choreography that you have to do, which is tricky part of our craft here.
Ooh,
so that was
the tricks
really cool
of the trade.
Idea. Yeah.
Which this is what is it? I got to always look at my wall because I got all the posters. This is our 4th production during the lockdown. In this last year, we've done 4 productions, which is, that's unheard of, isn't it? I mean, how many theater companies do 4 totally different productions, and some of them world premiere? I mean,
yeah,
all of them have never been done before.
Well, our reach is what's interesting about this workflow is our reach is the same as any other broadcasting entity that wants to put something out live. We can technically reach the same amount of people as a major network could.
Sure.
So that being said, it's really just our ambition and our creativity that puts us there. But someone else who's not here tonight, who I love, one of our ensemble actors, Nicole Lockett, is also a prolific director and theater actor. She's been doing a bunch of stuff throughout, also radio plays, stuff like stage plays similar to what we're doing, but maybe not without the technical aspect. And in fact, I just auditioned for one of her plays for the Tacoma Little Theater, where she's directing an original show. So people who act, actors act. I don't know if you guys have heard of that book, but it's called An Actor Acts. There's a book called A Director Directs, and a book called Composer Composes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And these actors and these directors and these people here are doing their craft during this very, what Cedric would call an inflection point in time. So I like what Cedric said when he told us that. Cedric Leggett, by the way, is not present here today. He was one of the original founding members of Lockdown Media Group. He would say that during inflection period comes opportunity. And so it's been a fantastic opportunity for me personally as an actor, because throughout I've been auditioning for other things and getting them. And so I've been honing my craft, and I'm not necessarily proud of everything I've done with Lockdown, no offense, but I've definitely been doing it. And it's been an invaluable tool for me to stay sharp and keep my tools used.
I often hear actors say they don't like to watch themselves. Do any of you fall into that case? You don't like to watch your performances?
Really?
Why is that? I feel, I'm not an actor, so
I love watching myself.
Really? I think I would like it too. I'm going to be honest. I think I would like it.
I always freak out when I watch myself for the first time, because I start judging myself for everything, for like, oh my God, that was over the top. There was like terrible choice. Look at yourself. How do you look? How can you're an actress? Why are you looking so bad right now? And and I start judging myself with all these different things, and then I could have done it better. But that's because you're preparing for the part, and it takes weeks. But those weeks are all you've got, and you're working as much as you can. You're creating the character and all that. But then after the work is done, you kind of let it go, and then in a while you start again thinking about it, and then maybe better ideas comes to your mind, like, if you had that second chance, which in theater is possible, because then you can perform on a next level. But when if it's filmed, it's filmed. And so sometimes, I look at myself and my old works, and I'm like, well, that was a good moment. That was like moment to moment. But of course, we will find a lot of things to judge ourselves for. But usually that's why actors, and it's very embarrassing when for the first time people in your closest circle watch you, because you're like, I'm judging myself. They know me. Like my sisters, for instance, whatever they watch with me, they always say, we can't believe it's like, it's you, it's our Sashka. How can you be that person? And so it's never, I can never get a feedback from them that would be objective. People who are close to you, but also honest with you, but not honest to the point like you're really stuck at that. like kindly honest, and then they say, you know, that was great. Actually, you did like, because you can compare yourself only to the previous you. So how did you grow from that previous part to this part? So that's, I think that's the only objective measure, but we actors are bad at that.
You know,
for me personally, I feel like Bruce, you know Sherry, right? You know Sherry. She was one of the amazing actress, professor, teacher, everything. She's just amazing. At Citrus, one of the things that she and I would talk about is the reason I personally don't like going back to any performance I've done, whether it's acting, whether it's singing, dancing, is because for whatever reason, I know, like, what do they say? Like elephants have really good memories. Is it an elephant? I don't know. Anyway, I remember exactly where I was in whatever performance it was that I was doing, whether it was good or where it was bad. I was drawing from a place that was genuine to me. That's what keeps me rooted to whatever it is I'm doing. So I don't always want to go back there. So that's why I don't necessarily like going back to see the works that I've done or the things that I've done. And she would always try to tell me, she'd be like, okay, well, you need to be able to go there safely. And I didn't understand what it meant. And I still have trouble doing it. I understand it now, but now it's more of a thing where I'm like, I don't want to go back, because I'm like, I go exactly back to the spot that I drew from. And that's not always like an easy spot to be. So I don't know, personally, that's why I don't like going back, because like people will be like, oh, remember when you did this like dance or something? And they'll try to show me a video and I'm like, I don't want to see it. Like, I don't want to see it, throw it away. Like, no, thank you. So I don't know. That's
interesting.
Isaac was relating all along. I found yes, that, and that, yep.
It's a mood. It's a mood.
It is. I was gonna say, musicians can relate very much, just like musicians can relate. I hate listening to my own music sometimes. It's like, I know where all the mistakes are, and I know exactly where I went wrong. But everybody's like, oh, it sounds great. I'm like, no. I didn't want to even put it out in the world, you know.
Isaac, what were you saying?
I just think mine personally is like, I truly watch myself so much because of auditions, and like whether it's like doing like promotional shoots for like footage or whatever, like anything, I watch myself all the time. And because of that, like even right now, I'm not like looking at all of you on the screen. I'm looking at how I look right now. I'm sorry. And because of that, I'm 100% like, I do not like watching myself perform, because I'm just so used to it, I guess. And at this point, I'm like, I want to see something more like exciting. Not to say that I don't think I'm exciting, because I know I'm exciting.
Hair flip, throw it.
But no, yeah, that's 100%.
I mean, obviously.
Well, I look at it like being on a rifle range. You've got concentric circles in the middle of this target, and you're trying to hit right in the middle of it. And what a recording does is basically shows you all these flying rounds that are outside of the center, you know? And it's just a record of your inaccuracies. I have a lot of different technical parts. I've been acting for 30 years. So there's technical parts of the craft that if you're not completely a method actor, let's say like Daniel Day-Lewis, for example, you can sense them as they happen to you. Whereas someone who does the work and prepares and goes all the way into it, and like for Lincoln, Daniel Day-Lewis prepared for almost 2 years. You know, he was on the phone with Mr. Spielberg every night talking about, accents and inflections and stuff, and trying to inhabit this. Meanwhile, back in Ireland, all his family.
Didn't he put like a rock in his shoe too, so he could have that rock?
Yes. He does weird stuff in order, puts himself in pain and discomfort in order to truthfully inhabit that person. And unless you do that preparation, unless you do that work, you are facsimilating something. And so this medium right here, as opposed to the stage rather, or even film, is live, and it captures you right here. Like there's nothing here that goes away or that you get away with. And so it's challenging. It's very technical, and it takes work. We rehearsed a lot. Like when did we start rehearsing, Jordan? Like
December.
We rehearse a lot. It's never really enough, no matter how much we rehearse, just because whenever the tech comes, it's not the normal tech that you guys are trained on. So it's like there's a whole time where the tech all has to be like understood, you know. And for me, there's a long time where I have to think about how, because obviously people their cameras can't move. Their camera's just right there. And in order to get somebody from the side, that's a mountain.
You stay here behind
and it is, you know, difficult. It's hard.
Tough Trip Through Hell, we did it every single take. And for me, I can go back and watch. I understand now perfectly why, based on what Jamie said and Isaac said, I do understand why you can't go back. That makes perfect sense, because I do the same thing, but it's related to my interconnected understanding. It's always just directed to, how did we communicate that? Should we have headed that off? The one thing that kills me is that Bruce and I recorded a pan hitting the ground, and it took me like an hour, and then the cameras reconstructed on the screen right before it was supposed to happen. And in order to fix the cameras, I have to cut away from all people. And so I wanted to cut to that pan, but the time wasn't right. And so I had to cut the pan from the show. And when I watched that part of the show, I feel frustrated. And I asked myself, why does that make me feel so frustrated? The answer is because I couldn't have fixed it. There's nothing that I could have done to stop that from happening. And that, for some reason, stayed with me, that I'll never be able to fix everything. But no matter how good I get, something like that could happen where that pan hitting the ground was beautiful. It was like the most convincing thing of that whole episode. And it just had to be cut on the fly, and it was consciously cut. It wasn't cut by accident. It was consciously taken out. And so that stayed with me hard. It's just the one time going back, I felt kind of bad looking at it. Because now we did fix a lot of stuff. Like, I don't, the number one thing people watching, if they hear me say it, will know, but if I don't say it, wouldn't notice on Tough Trip Through Hell, is that in order for a person to use a script, they have to either turn a page or scroll a screen. And so their hand comes up, and they're doing the very best they can to guess what I'm going to do and put their hand up when it's not going to be seen. And they also don't want to look at their screen to know if their hand is up at the right time. It's just, that is a little torturous for me to watch, because that is sort of me putting everybody through it and like just, you know, torturing everybody.
I think one down on you a lot. Didn't you guys say a while back that one of the kids commented and they were like, "Oh, I wish the camera could like move around to the background more."
Right,
so that made it believable to the kids. You know, they're watching this and they're like, "Ooh, I want to see the background." Little do they know it's a green screen. You know?
Yeah,
cool.
I liked that too. That was great. Yeah, but I mean, it was also, it was like, how do we communicate though to them what's happening without letting them down? You know, and Rick, you said it, like, you have to go to them, even if they're missing a point. You can't be like, "Oh, that's the audience's fault." It's your fault. You have to figure out how to make them understand, you know? And it was just reading those kids' comments back, I got that feeling like, wow, they were really sold. They thought this was a real place, but that's not the obstacle. The obstacle is to make them appreciate it, you know, make them understand where the character is. If you just make it look real, then they're like, yeah, they were standing there. And it's just not the same, you know? It's almost like you want it to glitch out sometimes.
Yeah.
So somebody knows.
Leading forward into the future, Bruce and Jordan, we've talked about this a lot, but you know, there's other technology that's happening right now that Jamie hopefully will be able to execute that for the audience soon, where the camera will track with the background, so the actors stay stationary, and Jordan can actually make the background move behind them. He can to a certain extent in 2 dimensions.
I can do that.
technically and economically, if we can catch up with virtual production and the standards right now, we can do anything. We could recreate the Transformers, Peter Pan, Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer, Treasure Island, you name it. We could be a literary, playhouse and do that stuff and make it believable and actually like narrow that uncanny valley enough to where the suspension of disbelief will immerse our audience. And that's really what we're going for. Like, I would love for someone to disappear into one of our narratives and not worry about the text or some of the glitches that we've had to. Like, I got cut off in Tough Trip Through Hill. Like, my internet went out twice, and I was the lead character.
That was a hard one, yeah.
That was really, really hard to feel. But one day, we'll be locked solid with our connectivity. We'll have the hardware and the equipment to do something that will really be not to say we're not viable right now, because we are. We're very. It's very. I say don't watch the shows, but I've actually watched all of them. They're all very entertaining. It's just that we do have ambitions to take the next step and do what other people like YouTube studios are doing right now. They have these volume stages popping up all over around the world, and they're becoming accessible to independent filmmakers and folks like us. We kind of bridge the gap between, like a Twitch show or, a blog, if you will, and an actual live broadcast program. So,
very exciting.
Sky's the limit for us.
That I do want to say that I know people always ask, what are we going to do next? And I know we're going to venture into animation, but in our own way. And I don't even know how Jordan's going to do it, but he's told me, we can do it. And so that means our actors, our big troupe of, how many actors do we have, Jordan and Rick? We got total from all the shows. We must,
over 16.
24,
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, it's almost 24, sure. And people, there's some people who have tried out who we have on a list to still try and get in. So there's probably 24.
I just wanted to say, from a writing perspective, a couple of you have been very nice and said that, I've written such a, great dialogue or whatever. I really every time I hear that, it's very nice to hear that, but I think most writers will tell you that, you kind of lay out what you're going to do, and then the characters take over. And it's hard to explain without actually sounding like you're schizophrenic, but I start hearing Lupe talking to me, and I'll write something down, and then I'll hear Lupe, oh no, I wouldn't say that. Oh, okay, what would you say, Lupe? And then I'll have like a dialogue with the character that I'm writing the dialogue for. And that's true for all of you. And then what's really weird is then I write it and I think, oh, that's pretty good. And then I give it to the actors, and then you guys put your own inflections into it and suggestions sometimes and dialogue changes. So then you inhabit that character that was only imaginal for me before. And imaginal is different than imaginary. Imaginal is very real. Imaginal is very real. It's like when you're a kid and you have invisible playmates, and I had 2 of them. When I'm writing, I go right back to my childhood, and I have the characters are real to me, even though they're imaginary, so they're imaginal. So anyway, without getting too weird, that's kind of what happens. So when people say, "Oh, you've written such a great play or a great book or whatever," it's all drawing from things that I don't even understand. How are they talking to me? It's a very bizarre thing.
I worry about you, Bruce.
I know. And I'm taking medication, and I hope it helps. No, I'm just kidding.
You have to worry about me too, because I know exactly what he's talking about, and I'm not talking about writing anything. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. It seems like there's some sort of reinforced feeling when you're doing it right. When you do the right thing, you feel good. And it's not, it's not your choice in a way when it's going to make you feel good. It's got to be the right thing. And so that kind of tells you, there's some sort of interconnectivity above what we decide, that's more about right and wrong, maybe justice. I don't know. Maybe it's ghosts or aliens, but
well, when you're,
it's aliens, but
it's aliens, yeah. Well, I think this probably goes for acting too. I find myself writing these plays, writing these characters, and many of them, there's villains and so forth, but even the villains have redeeming quality, something about them. That's what makes a villain really interesting, is when they're not just a, snidely whiplash, that they have some depth to them. And I always think that the characters are what I would like to be in some cases, and I'm aspiring to be like that. So I always think that, and it's hard to explain other than to say that when I'm writing the play, writing the character, writing the storyline, it's better than me. It's a better person than me. It's a better entity than me. That's who I'm aspiring to be. I want to be like Ali. I want to be like the grandfather. I even want to be like Jinx sometimes,
I love that. Dr. B, I couldn't agree more, honestly. When and just in relation to music, when I'm writing and I see Sasha, literally, she's I don't want to spoil anything for our viewers, but when she's crying in one of the scenes, it's incredible. I feel like I want to be the mother crying for Ali, or when I see her, the father being such a strong man, and hey, just be strong, wait here, we'll come back. I feel like when I'm creating the music, I want to be that dad. How would I feel? What would I feel if I was in that bazaar, or if I was in that marketplace and I have to leave my son by himself or something? I got to go help the neighbor or something, anything, right? So exactly like how you guys are acting, it's like you aspire to be that character, to be in that scene, to be that separate person. I think musically speaking, it's unbelievable. Kind of like what Jordan said, there is a higher power that takes over when you feel like something's being done right. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
Musicians would know for sure. Musicians have to have that sense.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I saw a cat person.
Yeah.
Sasha, you have a cat?
Uh-oh.
He knocked something down. That's Steve. He's been here for everything, but yeah.
That's what cats do. They like to.
He wanted to get interviewed, I guess, but
yeah. They like to steal a scene. That's what cats do.
Steal the show. I wanted to add that, from the actor's perspective, the same thing happens. At some point, your character starts talking to you, and basically you become one, and you can understand, and you basically can create a monologue or a dialogue for this character as well, because their point of view, their thoughts, what they think right now, what they feel. So that's really incredible. Sometimes you just click and it's easy. Sometimes you have to work more on that, but it happens at some point always.
It is not. It's not an easy thing. I remember when I took an acting class, not with Sherry, Jamie, but with our other
Neil.
With Neil, yeah. And Neil can be brutal.
Oh yeah.
He's a brilliant director and a writer too, but and an actor too. He's actually a very fine actor too. But he told me that his main job is to take you out of your comfort zone and to grow as an actor, or grow. And for me, I took it to be as a person too. How many times do we limit ourselves because we don't want to go there? I'm not saying do something terrible, but just something uncomfortable. I don't want to go talk to that person. I don't really, whatever. And maybe that's what you need to do. You need to go talk to that disagreeable person and figure out what it is that is dividing you. And then, if everybody did that, maybe the world would be a better place. So I think if people can get out of their comfort zone, and of course that works with writing too, because if you just write a formula, you never take any chances and get to an uncomfortable place, people realize that they're saying you're being too safe, or you're being, a cliche or whatever, you're not moving beyond and taking a chance. And I think actors do that a lot. When you make choices as an actor, and you guys make very good choices, I think, in this show. Where are we at in the show right now? I'm trying to see.
We are at scene. What scene is this? It's 10. I think it's 10. I have a question that I think the answer is going to be really rich. This is for Sasha. So there was a lot of amazing times where different people cried. But one time that was really interesting in particular, Sasha, you were doing a pre-record and you just stepped out and cried. Do you mind if I ask, how did you play that? What were you thinking when you did that?
Not today.
Because I just said action, and you just kind of walked out and took a couple steps, and you just started crying. How did you do that?
You know, I don't know. I know, just, you know, when you start again working on the scene, working on the character, you know, you find this, you try to find this things that connect you to what's happening, not necessarily to what literally is happening, but to the same I don't know, same objective, right? That for your character and all of that. And you make it personal. And well, with this story in particular, it's very easy because, as I said, I'm a mother, I'm an immigrant. I saw 4.5 years ago when my son was in elementary school, I saw how some people got in trouble with the immigration, some Hispanic moms and dads, usually moms mostly, because there was a time that where like people were coming to schools to kind of catch undocumented immigrants. So that's like Luca's story, Ali's story. It's something those kids, what they have to go through, their parents, what they have to go through. And all of these dynamic parents and kids in all the ways that is all we discover in the story. It affects me so much. I'm a big advocate for immigrants and of course, and for kids. And every time, like for instance, when Ali starts his monologue about if bees can work together, then we can as well. I just start crying. It just comes naturally. So it wasn't that hard in this case because I just have to think about any character from this story and it gets right into my heart. Plus I have my personal embarrassing thing. When kids are performing, I start crying, like I do this whole ugly crying. I can't stop. And it's always embarrassing at school because nobody's crying. Everybody's just watching and smiling and clapping their hands. And I'm like an idiot. I'm sitting there and crying. It just, I don't know, just seeing performing kids, my heart melts and I start crying. And sometimes playing pets as well, but kids mostly. And, you know, so in this case, you know, I see that's because of the actors, of course. I see Jamie and Stegerly and Isaac in this particular play as kids. I see the kids. And when they're talking, when they're solving their problems, it makes my heart melt too. And I start crying automatically. So, I mean, in this case, it was, although I'm not, you know, I don't easily, I cannot like cry on a cue usually, but sometimes, I mean, depends on, you know, everything. Sometimes I can. It's just this kind of a story.
Yeah, I remember you had me read that monologue that you're talking about. For timing, and I almost started crying. Something about the part where there's a list of all the different people who live on Earth that have to live together, and it was very moving. It was just so that you and Tommy could stand there. We needed me to read it, but I was having a hard time getting through the words.
Yeah, that was
Staggerly. You had to do those words live.
That's my favorite quote by Martin Luther King because I think it's really the basis of what all of us I think should be working towards, and it's so sad sometimes because we fall so short of it, you know. But it is the ideal if we could do it. And his metaphor, his analogy of a house is, you know, it's a beautiful thing. I'm Staggerly. I'm sorry, I jumped on that.
Was it hard to read that, Staggerly?
It was, I was trying to figure out as I was doing it how there's such a complex mesh of emotions on the very last monologue. And I was trying to figure out the fine line of how much Ali is trying to suppress it while saying it all. I hope I did it justice, but
no, you did.
Yeah, it was very powerful, and Yeah, it was also a challenge because I was like you were saying in rehearsals and stuff, I'm playing like a 13-year-old and I'm trying to do a higher voice while doing it. And it I don't know, it's different than like it if I was saying it, you know. I was trying to be a character as well as convey the emotions. But yeah, it was great writing and very powerful speech from Martin Luther King Jr. and I can understand why that would make you cry. And I almost tear up too, but yeah, thinking I like, as you were saying, I guess I don't want to spoil the end, but
I think that we're beyond that actually, because it's actually going to happen here on the screen in a second anyway, so it's okay. You can go ahead and.
I just like thinking optimistically, and that my Jadi is all right in the end. And
yeah, it's an open-ended question, and actually I changed that ending a couple times in the play and also in the book, and I've had people write to me, adults and children, young people, write and say, what happens to, did he live, did he not live? We need to know, did he live, did he not live? So I leave it up to the reader or to the audience to figure out what do they think is going to happen. I know what they want to happen, but what do you think is going to happen? And I think leaving it open-ended is kind of the way life is, because none of us know. So it's not really it's a happy ending in a way, but it's not, and that's the reality. That's why I think kids can handle that.
I saw it sort of different, I guess. I thought like, well, even if he lives, he has to die someday, and
yes.
The message, would be that whenever that day is, no matter how old Ali is, it will hurt, and he will need other people on that day. So, he's also, going to be a ghost. So in a way, if you strike him down, he'll only get stronger.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
So, at the end of the day, Ali he found his place in the country, in the school, with friends. He made friends with Jenks, and everything is, so he is taken care of. Now, even whatever happens, they will take care of him as much as he will take care of them. And
I hope so.
Right, and Jenks's dad will take care of them too.
Yes.
It all that's why as a mom, while listening to his dialogue through tears and being proud of him, and I am happy that now I can go away. Now I can, stop maybe hunting him. That's what I felt, because I'm at peace too. My son is taken care of. He knows his way. He knows his path. He will, be fine. So I think that with grandfather, it's the same thing. Although, of course, a kid in me wants a clear, happy ending that the grandfather is entering the room at the last possible moment and says, "Here I am. It was just a scare."
So I was stuck in the traffic.
I like that. That's fun. Yeah, we can shift to a scene of you all frustrated in a car.
Or better yet, that could be a spin-off, and the whole thing could just be Jadi in a car in traffic.
Yeah.
That would be awesome to see how he responds to it, because I know how I do.
And we want to bring Jinx's mom into this. I want to see, she's a mess, right? So she's an interesting character. So
that's part 2.
Oh, that's right.
Part 2.
Yeah. I think that would be a great exposition as to why my character is so grumpy.
Who's gonna play her?
Actually, in the book, there's also the teacher is a character too. So that we didn't do that in the play, but yeah. And
I saw that there was a picture.
Jenks' mom this time in part 2. You don't need me as Ali's mom anymore. I did my
Thanks. That'd be a juicy role, Mrs. Hooper.
Yeah, maybe that'll be an adult, maybe for college students.
Or the former Mrs. Hooper or whatever.
Yeah. Troubled Mrs. Hooper.
And how about Lupe's mom
And there is Lupe's mom.
and her father, who's living in Juarez, I think. Right?
Yeah, I think.
Maybe, what if she was a teacher and we call it Welcome Back Hooper?
Yeah, there you go.
Welcome back.
Your dreams we go to get them.
Where are we at in the play now?
We're on scene 11 going into, actually, we're still on 10, I think. Or this is 11.
This is
12
11.
is what we're going into.
Our scene?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is this in Cozy Inn?
Yeah, they're at the Cozy Inn.
Okay.
Watching the game. And he should be leaving.
I love seeing Yusuf in the Yankees hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the head covering and the Yankees hat. That's great. Yeah, there we go.
Did he ever get his Arnold Palmer?
I know. Did he?
He never came.
He's still waiting.
Terrible service.
Like, I know they were busy, but wow.
Yusuf, I'll tell you what. When you come to LA, I'm gonna get you an Arnold Palmer on me.
Okay. Actually, I was in the market there, then I saw it, and I go, "Oh, that really exists."
It is delicious. It is. Arnold Palmer.
Drinks all around. First round's on me, guys. Just come to LA.
Okay, good.
Let's do it.
I'm already in LA.
Tonight?
Go. Let's go.
Guys, by the way, it's for our audience because cast and crew know. I apologize for being like this. It's not because I'm rude or disrespecting our audience. I'm a little bit sick these days.
No, you're just comfy.
Yeah, and so I had to.
Can you put on a mask, please, for our safety? Thank you.
Yeah, via Zoom.
I mute myself when I'm coughing.
Well, we appreciate you being here, even though you're sick, Sasa.
Thank you for being socially distant from your phone, even. That's good.
Yeah.
Very
Put on a
Your
mask.
phone thanks you.
The show must go on.
He said I'm covered.
So just again, I think, are there any questions from the anybody? Send us any notes or messages?
I don't see anything.
Okay.
Looks like MacGuffin came in from Rob Maynard. He called that one. He was probably right
he
on
knew
time,
it.
but
He knew it.
it was
He
too
knew it
late for us.
exactly what I was trying to say. The MacGuffin.
And then in private messages, Jamie called it a McMuffin.
What? Yeah, I did. It just made sense. Sounds like it's a McMuffin.
That would work
Now
too.
I'm hungry.
In a certain context, yeah.
That would be funny if we were all handing a McMuffin back and forth.
I would be down.
McDonald's,
We can
if
make
you're
it
listening,
short.
you
Just
A
with the
Mickey
McMuffin.
Mantle McMuffin?
Yeah.
Is that a McMuffin?
I'm down. I'll do it.
Guys,
I'm not kidding.
let's
Sounds
repeat
fun.
the information for schools and libraries because I think that's very
Yes.
Yeah, it's now that we're at the kind of the end of the play. Yeah, so anybody watching affiliated with a school or library or whether it's private school or public school, administrator or teacher, we can perform the play live online with our remote actors, and we can do it at a certain time where different schools can all watch at the same time, but through your learning management system. Jordan knows how to do that. So you can have your students watch the play live, and
It's safe. It's not
safe.
you can't hack into it or anything like that.
Can't hack
All the
into
schools
it.
have their
learning
regulation on
management
that.
system, their LMS, yeah. And we can do this, and the thing is, we're going to do it for free. That's the key. We're not going to do 1,000 performances. So we're going to do a couple of performances, and for a school district, we'll offer it for free. So, I mean, how can you go wrong with that? And the thing is that, eventually I think this will, be something else, and because right now everybody's working out of the kindness of their own heart. Nobody's being paid large sums of money, at least that I know about. So, we're all doing this because we want to create and we want to share with children. We want to share with schools, and so Jordan, you have a contact email for you and I, and Rick, or whoever.
It's locked down. Yeah, I put it in the comments on. Once this video on YouTube goes live, I'll put it in those comments. For anyone who's not watching live, you may not be able to see it unless you were at the premiere of this video. On Facebook, though, I know you guys can see it, and it's lockdown.theater.group@gmail.com. Theater is spelled R-E. And we can also take your, if you have a question like, can you guys do something? It doesn't just have to be Ollie's Bees. You can ask us questions about stuff. Or if you've got a play, we would want to hear about that too. If you think you got a good play for virtual productions, or if you're just good at writing them, or just whatever you can contribute. If you like the cause, then give us an email.
We'd like to hear from you, no matter what. So
yeah.
And Bruce, how many plays have you staged practically before this?
In a traditional way?
Yeah, how many of your scripts have been?
I've had 2 of my plays produced on a stage. The one Jamie was in, the second one, The Epiphany, which we did at the school here in Southern California, at Citrus College, and also we took the whole acting troupe to Norway and performed for people in
northern Norway. I still have the newspaper from Norway.
That was pretty amazing. And the Norwegian government.
Mother, Sasha, I played the mom. Oh my God.
Yeah, for a Norwegian audience, including 2, it was depicting the Nazi occupation of Norway, and there were 2 ladies in the audience. I don't know if you remember this, Jamie. 2 ladies in the audience who had been alive during the occupation, and you should have seen the looks on their faces. I'm glad I didn't point it out to you, because you should have seen the looks on their faces. They went right back in time, because the beautiful set that was created by the community where we did it. And anyway, it was just so wonderful. And you guys were on national TV.
And to remember I think it was our first night after we were done, the cast, we went backstage and we were like, were we terrible? Like, what happened? Because we got no reaction, but it was because so many people were recalling memories.
They were stunned.
And
then they brought you out and they did this clapping in unison thing. Remember that? It was pretty powerful.
A slow clap?
No, not a slow clap. It was just clapping in unison. I guess that's the way they do it in Europe.
Yeah,
one in a time.
Corner of the room. Exactly. Dr. Bruce and Sasha and Yusa, I just wanted to tell you guys something really awesome. So my fiance is literally texting me right now. And she's saying that she's in love with Sasha and Yusuf's accent. So that's pretty cool. And she said she wants to make you tea, by the way. So that's live, and I'm texting her. And she said she hopes you feel better.
Oh, that's nice. We all hope. Yeah, Sasha, that's very nice. Thank you, Roland.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys are all doing great. So according to my fiance and my best friend. So.
Thank you. And by the way, congratulations. And by the way, since you mentioned your fiance, we are expecting invitations.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Oh, my God. Yes.
Just so you know. That's it. Could we all show up dressed as bees? That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I think now would be a good time to just go.
We could just buzz. We'll just buzz in there, real quick.
Yeah. And Jordan's going to direct the wedding.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. I love you guys. That's perfect.
Now, when you're getting married, Roland, you can't play the piano and be married at the same. I mean, do the marriage.
It's going to be a problem.
Did you wear that shirt because it's like bee-like? Is that that shirt?
Are you talking about Stagger Lee or me?
Stagger Lee, yeah. Is that
before you logged on, that's what Sasha said. It's like burgundy and yellow.
No, that's yellow and black. That's
looks like yellow.
Yeah, my best friend thought I looked like a bee, so.
Yeah.
I didn't plan that.
Staggerly's actually become an entomologist since we started doing this show, and he's now an expert on bees. Have you guys seen that YouTube video where the woman pulls up the floor and takes a whole hive of bees out and puts it in a new hive with her hands bare?
Oh,
yeah, I did see that. I
love bees, but
she
I would
clips
never.
the queen, and it's amazing. It's just like beautiful woman in a t-shirt and shorts, and she's just scooping handfuls of bees up with her bare hands and putting them in a hive. It just kind of like blows my mind. There's so much I don't know about bees.
Wow.
I've done that in the play. Just show it.
Yeah.
A father of a friend of mine, he was a beekeeper in Ukraine, and he invited us. He was like explaining us everything about the bees, and he was just like, also grabbing them. And I was like, don't they sting you? He's a nah. Or even if they do, I don't feel it. Like they're friends. I was like, whoa, that was scary. There were like a lot of bees there.
Yeah.
Apis mellifera.
Well, are we at the end of the show? Looks like
we are.
We're
We're about to see Staggerly's monologue that he was speaking of.
Yeah.
And it's pretty awesome to see our 3 stars up there. And just a comment to our 3 young stars, Jamie, Staggerly, and Isaac. It's been a pleasure watching the 3 of you become these characters in the ensemble that we've all become. But particularly the chemistry between the 3 of you and doing that remotely, that was very, very impressive. And I've never got to act from a wheelchair before, but I actually have a wheelchair in my closet. And I was wondering, Bruce, is it okay if I took that for a stroll?
Like all the way over here? From where you are to where I am?
Yeah.
That's like 30 miles, dude.
I'm on Hillcrest here in Valencia. It's a really big hill.
Oh, wow. It looks like it's still daylight there, Rick.
It is. Look, you can see the moon over my shoulder.
That's a big window.
It's a beautiful moon.
And Roland is up on.
Roland, how are you floating? What is that?
Yeah, you know what? This is how I live my life.
Couldn't be me. I'm in a black abyss. What? Jealous.
Do you have a green screen strapped to the back of your chair?
I don't. I wish I did. It's just there's a problem with that darn sun. It never wants to set, so it's just there for a while.
It's always sunny at Roland's
That's
place.
the wrong play, Roland. That was another play.
Yeah.
The bridge.
What's that Elton John song? Don't let the sun.
Yeah. Don't let the sun set, or don't let the sun shine, or something.
Don't let the. I can't remember it. Something like that.
Roland,
I have these partial memories.
I have to say something. You
Please.
will not approve it, but I will still say it because I find it adorable.
Please.
So for your fiance, what is her name, by the way?
Oh my God. She's actually yelling at me, telling me not to say that I'm talking to her right now. Her name, I'm going to go ahead and break the rules and tell you. Her name is Janelle Khalil. She's
Hi, Janelle.
Oh my God.
Hi, Janelle.
She's going to kill me.
Congratulations.
Maybe she's going to hug you because, Janelle, I knew that Roland is going to marry you before you knew. Do you remember how you used the accent and then you said, I'm going to pop the question.
Oh my God.
And so I knew that's going to happen. I was like, I have to find her number. I have to spoil it. Now I can't spoil it.
Absolutely.
You can do that. So, yeah. Just
and not to scare anybody, but he hasn't actually popped the question yet. So hopefully we can hit that pause button before.
Oh my God.
Before this airs.
Look, there's our names, you guys. We're famous.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for gathering together tonight, and I really appreciate it. And I know Jordan appreciates it, and Rick all of us appreciate each other. And I know Isaac's in a very different time zone too, so we appreciate you being in a later time zone, and all scattered across the West Coast. From Seattle, Tacoma area down here to Southern California. We're all over the place. And if you look at all of our actors, we're even in Montana, and I mean, we got people all over the place. But we're all here for the same reason. We wanted to create our craft and do our thing during the lockdown, and we're coming out of the lockdown, thank goodness. But I think we need to be a little cautious, and we want to perform this play, and we will set it up, and we got other projects in the ready to, go whenever, Jordan says, let's do it. And yeah, so I'm excited. I like working with all of you. I'd love to have a production where we could use every actor, which I think the animation, we might come close to it. There's a lot of characters in the animation. So that would be fun. Kind of our own version of the Animaniacs,
Jordan's got his work cut out for him, buddy.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, it's a live animation. If you can imagine what a live animation is, that's what we're picturing. An animation that's also a play. So that should be fun.
It'll be cool. Very, very cool. Well, I guess we got to say goodnight to everybody, right?
All right. I love you guys. This was awesome.
Okay.
Love you too.
For watching, everyone.
Yes. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for the shout outs.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's what Jordan is telling.
Don't forget to tip your bartender.
Right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Thank you.
guys.
Night.
Bye.
And thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you. Yes.
Good show.